Hello, listeners. Mallory Wilsey here, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network, and I want to take just a quick moment to tell you about another show on our podcast network that I think you'll love. Mission Admissions cuts through the noise in college admissions and recruitment. Host Jeremy Tiers brings a fresh perspective, packing each episode with straight talk advice, tips, and strategies from a mix of pros inside and outside higher ed. One of the things I love most about the show is how Jeremy often brings voices from outside the industry to share perspectives and practices that can be applied to the work that marketers and enrollment professionals like you do every day. You can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search Mission Admissions wherever you get your podcasts.
That is what I'm so excited about, and how this role is structured in the work that I'm doing here is I was literally at the big oval table in the president's office during like a calendaring meeting or like a planning meeting and was like, oh my goodness, like I literally have this seat here.
Welcome to Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager, a podcast that addresses the do's, don'ts, and dynamics of the digital ecosystem specific to higher education. I'm your host, Li Fowler. Join me every other week for discussions with some of the best minds in higher education social media management and marketing. Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Hi friends! Today we are talking to Teddi Tostanoski, who serves as a senior social and digital media strategist at Colorado State University, leading the social media strategy for the Office of the President. Hi Teddi!
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
I'm good. So glad you can join us. And the current president is Amy Parsons, is that correct?
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
And
we'll get into more about her in a second. But first, can you tell us more about how you got into higher ed social media?
I'm going to start this story with back in college. I was in the first wave of digital marketing students at the University of Colorado Boulder. Like the first class that ever was told to go analyze Twitter data at the Oscars.
Okay.
Like I was in that first wave within that space. So I found it really interesting. I really liked the data aspect of social media, and I kind of kept with it. I worked on consumer electronics at Canon and Ricoh Imaging, and then bounced over to nonprofit and some freelance work. And eventually found my way to UC Berkeley and their student affairs division, managing a lot of different social media channels there. I'd always wanted to move to the Bay Area, and the job popped up when I was looking, and I didn't know that it was my calling until they hired me, and I started working within a team that a little bit agency style. So I was doing social media for like rec sports and undergraduate admissions and housing and dining and like orientation. So I got like this really great education within the student affairs world, within the higher education world, all social media, and trying to figure out how to best create content. But I've really not looked back ever since then, and just kind of kept with the social media work at, I moved over to UC Davis, handled all of their undergraduate admission social media work. And so I really got to get that experience there too. And then about a year ago, I took this job here at Colorado State University, doing the executive social media for President Parsons, because of my genuine interest in how leaders communicate with others, how they do that inclusively.
So Teddi, What are some of the main differences that you find between managing an executive channel and managing a school's flagship channel or channels?
I think a lot of people like think it's a lot different, like being managing a person's social media versus a flagship. But I mean, first of all, I don't. It's not that much different in my opinion.
Hmm.
There's still a strategy. There's still, you know, expectations and things that we need to achieve with our social media work here. There's still things like editorial calendars and content analytics and crisis communications and responding to people. All of that stuff is the same. Still staying on trends and all of that. The things that are different, are a little bit more granular. It's, talking on behalf of a person rather than an institution. There's still similarities though, because that person is the head of the institution.
Hmm.
So, it's changing little things like that. Sometimes your imagery is just way different, like it's group photos, it's less polished, it's selfie photos and videos and things that you might not ever actually see on an institution's Instagram or Twitter or wherever you are. So it's just a lot of the little things there. I think one of the biggest differences that I found between managing institutional accounts and President Parsons is actually how close we are to the stakeholders. So when you're managing, an institution's social media presence, you've got people all over the world. You're connected because of social media. They may not have been to campus for 10 years or last time they, whenever they graduated, those types of things. Here, the stakeholders are a lot closer. There are the people on campus, they are donors, they are community members that you're actually seeing every day in person. And that is a lot different kind of ecosystem that we've built here, because we're talking about social media with the people that are consuming it. And I think a lot of times, in my experience, that doesn't actually happen when you're managing bigger institutional profiles.
Is it more pressure? Because you could actually go down the hallway and someone could say, "I saw that tweet." I mean, I suppose in theory that could happen with a flagship, but I feel like our audience is so global that it's not quite the same.
Um, I don't know if it's necessarily more pressure, because I think about it a little bit more. I think about how, the mayor of Fort Collins is going to think about a post.
Mm,
She's someone that we have a lot more access to versus an international student living in India that's seeing an admissions post, right? Um, it's just that dotted line is so much closer. So maybe there is a little bit more pressure.
fair, fair. You mentioned Instagram. Can you just mention which actual platforms you manage for President Parsons?
So it's Instagram, it's X, formerly Twitter. I will continue to call it Twitter, probably until the day I die.
I
And
like
then,
it.
and then LinkedIn. So she's on those three.
Okay, great. So CSU's president has not had a social presence in the past. So how has it been building the president's channels from scratch?
So it's been a blast, but I will also say that the past year has been one of the hardest of my career. I say this with absolute love for the team here, the Office of the President team, the marketing and communications team. They're so supportive. But I've been really humbled coming into this role. I'm
Hmm.
someone that I would say I'm a strategic thinker. I really like planning. And that's kind of what I thought I was going to jump right into when I came here. But because her channels are so new, she's relatively new to the role, not CSU. There was a lot of learning over the past year on how my role is brand new too.
Mhm.
There was a lot of learning on even how we work together, um, the type of content that we just need to create. Like there wasn't a roadmap. So it's been building that roadmap for the past year. And I thought, let's write the strategy, follow the strategy. And it's been a little bit flipped of, we know we need to elevate, celebrate CSU, but how we do that, it's a lot of trial and error and figuring those things out. But it's been going really well over the past year. Her accounts have grown tremendously. I think we're getting our footing with a lot of the content that we're doing. And just kind of, going into year two, I'm just really excited to get a lot of that organization and planning done. I built the relation, like I also started a brand new job with people I didn't know. And
Right, right.
CSU is a big place. And so it was even me just like learning who people are and who to work with and who to ask questions to. And so all of that just happened at once. And so I'm really hoping going into year 2 that we're going to streamline some things, smooth them out, and then really like dig into how we get to build a stronger community.
Yeah, as you were responding to that question, I was thinking you're new to the culture, so you have to learn the culture. It's they're totally new channels, so you get to sort of build the voice, but you're trying to learn the voice of a new president as well. So, I mean, I think getting on board with the culture and learning, is tough, but I feel like you've got a lot of blank slates here, which are opportunities, but like you said, a steep learning curve, right? So how, I mean, can you talk about how that's been?
I've taken the past year and listened a lot and just like learned a lot on my own. I think that anybody kind of has to do that coming into a new role. Learning the culture, I guess, one is just very different than living in California in the UC system. But I was also back in Colorado. So I also went to the rival school. So I had some
Fair,
understanding
fair.
and some understanding of, some of the values of Colorado State University. And, I think learning those values and end up believing in them pretty quick helped. And then the thing that I think has really helped me over the past year is, I mean, President Parsons, one, she's just very well spoken and she loves CSU. And so listening to her and being with her has really helped us shape how we write. She really does have all the answers because it's her account, right? Like she's the head of the
Yeah.
university. And so it's learning what's important to her. It's trying to be one step ahead to make her job easier and our job easier and those things. And it's never perfect. Like we have rewritten things a million times. She's got more insight and context than I will ever have as a social media strategist here. She gets to know everything and hears everything. And so I've learned when you're, starting out in social media, like you're never quite getting it right. And I had to get out of that mindset very quickly and learn that there's no way to ever get it 100% right, more than likely, because you just are never going to know enough. And I think that switch to also really helped me. It becomes a team effort, and she's on the team, which is awesome.
I love that. I love that you have taken it to the level of collaborator, right? It's like you're collaborating together. And I love that you said you just did a lot of listening, which I actually really think is key. Just doing like real listening and trying to hear and learn that way, right? I love that. So yeah. So how involved is President Parsons with the channels? I know you just talked about this a little bit, but it does seem like she wants a hand, right? She wants to be involved.
She's such a forward thinker and values social media and has big ideas and is going out and executing them. But some of the things, like when you read the comments on her post or talk to people in person, all you're hearing is she's so involved on campus. She cares so much about everyone. This is the first president that I felt seen by. Like things like that, which are really telling about a person. And it's very special. And I bring this up, one, maybe a little bit less to your question, is a lot of people feel this way because of her social media. We do so much content. We cover all of the events that she's at. We're commenting on as much as we can. The CSU social media ecosystem is big. And so a lot of that, she is that person face to face, but her social media is that access point for a lot of people. And I think that goes to a little bit of just being involved with campus. It's that one of the, arguably, like how she communicates with the majority of campus and the rest of the CSU community. I think more to your question, she's very involved. She's coming up with ideas. Like I got an email from her last night with some ideas that she wants to try out, and they're good ideas too. Like it's not that awkward. Like this was the that anecdote of like, well, I talked to my daughter about what we should be doing and we should be doing that. It's not like that at all. It's like genuine, like really thoughtful ideas that have come across something that she's seen, those types of things. And like I said, it's very collaborative.
Hey, it's Mallory, Chief Strategist of Enrollify. Why travel far when an exceptional higher ed conference experience awaits from the comfort of your campus or home office? I'm thrilled to announce that every single session at the 2024 Engage Summit will be live streamed. And the best part? Registration is free. Many of your favorite Enrollify creators are presenting. Maya Demishkovich and Jenny Li Fowler will teach you how to craft an AI-powered social media influencer strategy. Jamie Hunt will help you unlock the AI revolution in your team. And Shane Baglini and Allison Tercio are teaming up to boost your productivity with generative AI. Plan out your dream conference by scoping out the agenda and taking note of the sessions you want to tune in for. Visit engage.element451.com and register yourself and your team for free today. Now, back to the show.
So some of the things that I'm hearing is that, she gets it. She gets that it's a powerful tool. She gets that it can be used strategically to share the voice of the president, and needs strategy and needs like a person to help manage it instead of, and you're engaging. It sounds like you're engaging a lot on her channels as well. So are you responding to comments, or is she, or is there a combination of both?
It's a mix of both.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do it because it's my job type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she's on there reading the comments on her posts. She'll reply. If she has the time, those types of things. So she's like the question. She is very involved. It has her stamp of approval, even though she's not necessarily doing the writing for it or taking the photos. But the key point of that I really want to make here, Jenny, is that President Parsons, and like you said, like she understands the strategic value of social media to the point of, social media managers have been asking for a seat at the table for years, right? They want, social media is such a powerful tool within our society at this point. It's how we're connecting, it's how we're making money, it's how, it's all of those things. And that seat at the table, she's given me that seat at the table. And that is what I'm so excited about, and how this role is structured in the work that I'm doing here. Is I was literally at the big oval table in the president's office during like a calendaring meeting or like a planning meeting, and was like, oh my goodness, like I literally have this seat here. I am, I'm getting asked about what's the social media plan for this, like how does this fit into the strategy? And it's just, that's what's so cool about this role, about President Parsons. But like the lesson is like that is the next step for a lot of other presidents and chancellors or your directors of communication, of how do you make social media more part of those bigger conversations, and having people sit at the table to help push that institutional, whatever the goals are, is really key about how involved President Parsons is in general, and how her involvement and her care for social media within this space is coming out, and how it's impacting me as that social media strategist.
That's awesome. So not like you have a seat at the proverbial table, and you were at the table. But you know what I love too is that you took this position knowing, right? Knowing that you would have more conversations.
If we back way up on me applying for this job, I actually applied for a different job on the team.
Oh, interesting. No, do tell. Okay.
Yeah, so I applied for basically the other senior social and digital strategist. I don't know if you know anything about the CSU team, and the job was back in Colorado, and so I've been trying to come back, and I went through the first maybe one or two rounds of interviewing for this position that was going to manage the university Twitter and do some of the editorial calendar work. And Kimberly Stern came back to me and was like, hey, our brand new president also wants a social media strategist. We're just going to put your application through for that position as well. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like that doubles my chances of getting a job back in Colorado.
Completely.
So I didn't really seek this out. However, it just aligned really well. I was just finishing my master's in organization and leadership. So executive communication was just really top of mind for me last year, and things I've just been really interested in. And so, I continued through that process. I had met President Parsons via Zoom, during it, and I met with her director of communications and executive assistant. All I heard was how awesome President Parsons is. I didn't know anything beyond that. The work that the team was doing there, or when President Parsons joined, like, she asked to launch her channels, and so the social media team launched the Instagram and Twitter. President Parsons came in with her own LinkedIn, so they were like doing work and like posting, and there was a little bit of a plan, but it wasn't until I got here that all of this really took.
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't know what was happening. Like, we just knew that it was a good thing. We just had to like figure out how to manage that really good thing and all of that collaboration.
I think that's great, and it just kind of sounds like it came about organically too. The person, they said, I think you're a really good fit. I mean, pretty much that's a vote of confidence to say you were a good fit for that position if she just handed your resume herself.
Yeah, I think I got a little lucky. I feel lucky.
Hey, you know what? I'll take luck, I will always take a little luck. So do you think it would be hard to manage a president's channel if you didn't vibe with them?
Yes.
Yeah. It would be much more of a difficult. It would be a different position if you didn't have a personality sort of fit with the president.
I think the personality fit, and I think the thing that's just really helped that I know that wouldn't help is just alignment on like goals or like believing in what that person wants to bring to the institution.
And it's almost like believing in a brand, right? The brand and the mission and the values, like how all those things are important. Okay.
Yeah, it's believing in that, I think. And so with President Parsons and CSU, like, I was like, this is my kind of place. These are my type of people. President Parsons just made me so excited to begin with, because there's this lady running the institution that she's like, should we be posting the Instagram stories, or like, I want to go on Instagram Live? And, I've worked with other executives that like, it's like pulling teeth just to get them to remember what an Instagram Live was, or, so there's just like that element, I think, is where I really got hooked, is that, there are no boundaries for us right now. There probably never will be. We're just going to continue growing with wherever social media goes, because everybody on the team is already agile and knows that that's how to stay on top of social media, which is great.
What I'm hearing a little bit too is that President Parsons' channels have become the channels that students go to for information. So here's the interesting thing is, like, a lot of times people are asking me, well, how do we get students? How do we get students? But you've kind of answered that question by providing value, right? I always say, are you posting content that they want, that they informs them and that they need? And it's kind of sounds like you made it the place that they get that sort of information from.
The CSU channels here provide so much information. Like, students do genuinely go to those channels to get information before they necessarily read their weekly emails or go to the website. However, what I think President Parsons' channels are doing is, well, they're humanizing who she is, and it's building that personal connection, which I think that a lot of time those administrators feel really disconnected from their students, right? Like, that is, and then there's conflict there because no one's on the same page, or when there is conflict, like, it doesn't go well for either side. And so I think that what her channels we're doing is we're making her accessible to students and feeling connected and that type of thing. And that, we do share really important information when we need to, or like amplify other people's work. But I think it's giving the accessibility to her as the top administrator, which is what's most important in how we've been connecting with the students the best.
I think there's so many presidents that are still trying to figure out how to do that, and that's awesome. So Teddi, what are you posting on these channels?
Oh man. Well, when I was talking to President Parsons about this, the first thing she said is, don't give away too many secrets. So I was like, I'm not going to give away the secrets. And you can go and look at the channels, but
I love it that you have a secret sauce. Yeah, people are always asking me, do you have a secret sauce? I'm like, no. But yeah, sorry. So yes, continue.
It's anything and everything that's related to CSU that we're doing great with, what our faculty's up to that is doing great. I always say, like, we're elevating and we're celebrating CSU, and that can come in so many different forms. Like today we're going to post about our track team going to the NCAA, championships. President Parsons
Oh,
isn't in
that's
those photos,
exciting.
but she's not in those photos, but we're celebrating those students. It's putting faculty on, asking them to be a part of Instagram Live to like highlight their expertise. Last week, I went with President Parsons to rural Colorado, and we created videos when she was meeting with all of the faculty and staff, at our extension engagement center. So it's one, she keeps a very
Amazing.
busy schedule, and it's highlighting that schedule because she's not going to places that don't matter. She's not going to waste her time by, I don't know, whatever it would be. So the places that she's going, the things that she's doing, we're just making sure that that's reflected on social media if it's appropriate. So I don't know if that like really answers your question, but
Yeah, no, but I mean, it sounds like it's not like it's just images. It sounds like you were talking about Instagram lives, and it sounds like she's into like reels and vertical videos.
mhm,
And I
yeah.
mean, it's like a full gamut. It's not just sort of like articles or blog posts.
Yeah, some of that lands up on LinkedIn, because that's the most appropriate place for it. But no,
That makes
when you
sense.
ask about like what's different between institutional accounts and executive, like that's the stuff that you're posting, on flagship channels, right? Like you're that diverse array of content because that's interesting. And that type of content is best consumed by different types of groups, right? Like different types of people. The Instagram reels are going to, really resonate with the students, and they have, and then some, or, those, when we get some sort of big award, a grant, like that's doing really well with our LinkedIn professional community. So it ends up being the same a little bit, maybe a lot of it.
Okay, so this is Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager. So I have to ask you, Teddy, what is your confession?
So I always say this a little bit to get the reaction out of people, but my confession is I don't like social media despite having carved out my career in this space.
I've heard you say that before in conversations, but earlier when you were describing sort of your journey in social media, you seemed to like there was a bit of joy there, or like sort of like that you liked what you did. Is it different? I guess liking what you do and social media can be two totally different things.
I actually like thank you for like asking this question, and it's making me explain myself a little bit more. Like I said, I say it a lot of times just to get the reaction out of people, but there's social media when you think about it is, there's a lot of great parts of it, and there's a lot of awful parts about it, like
Mm-hmm.
mental health problems, just having the incorrect information, getting addicted, having volatile
Preach.
communities, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so there's all of that. And in my career, I've dealt with all of those things. And I was trying to grapple when I was at UC Berkeley and UC Davis in the student affairs world, working with students of, well, one, I was like, I don't like creating this content in this space that there's so much garbage going on, so many bad things. And this thing's not going away. Social media is going to be around for forever, I suspect. And my role in it is to make it better for those communities that I'm in charge of, that I'm helping support. And so I don't, posting every day, I'm not about it. Like if I can figure out how to not do that in my career and my goals and all of that, that's going to be a great day. That's probably going to be the day that I move to actually teaching, or maybe I'll go get my PhD. The joys of social media are figuring out how to create that positive content, or that strategy that's going to elevate like all these, a whole university community. I'm helping elevate that through President Parsons' voice. And those are the really great things about it. But I also have all of those say like skills. Sometimes I feel really protective of the communities that I'm working with because I know that it can be bad, and being so mindful of the strategy and content that's going out there just to make it the best that it can be. So, I think hopefully I explained that a little bit.
It makes total sense to me. Yeah. Teddi, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your insights and experience. And this was an absolutely delightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, Jenny. It's so good to catch up with you again.
Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Jamie Hunt, Allison Tercio, Mallory Wilsey, and so many others of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.